This week we're going to be doing another airbrush sketch, and the goal of this one is to make this airbrush painting almost look like it was done in charcoal. And these are really fun to do because they're very quick and they're also kind of addictive because I've been working on sketches like this daily, which I haven't done in years. So I've been having a lot of fun with these, and I hope to do a lot more of these animal sketches on the channel in 2026. And before we start, let me know an animal you'd like to see sketched next. I'll pick the first comment, and that's what we'll do in a few weeks. Let's start this one with a drawing, getting all those proportions of this pig in place. And I'm going to place my completed sketch on the left side of the screen. And for this one, I'm just going to be doing it freehand, no grids or tracing. I'm starting this one by drawing in the proportions of the head. And as you can see, I started on the left side just to map in the placement of the skull. And then by eye, I loosely measured in and drew in the right edge of the ear and the lower part of the jaw. So I get kind of an oval shape in here, just the placement of that head. Now with these edges or contours in place, I added in a small dot of where that eye is going to be, and I'm going to get to that later. And from here, I can start drawing in the shape of the nose or the snout using the pencil lines that I already have in to help guide me for these proportions. I started by getting in the left edge of the pig, and then I'm just simplifying what I see. The snout here is kind of like an oval shape, so I'm just going to lightly sketch it in. And then once I get the contours of the nose in place, I can use that to help guide me for the placement of the nostrils. There's two of them, obviously. The one on the right is an oval shape that's kind of angled down, and the one on the left gets slightly blocked off by the left side of the nose as it just kind of rounds away. Now, I just want to point out that for this one, I'm working on a piece of clayboard, and the only reason I'm doing that is for video. It just films a lot better. When I draw or paint these for myself, I always do them on hot press paper, and I like to keep them in a moleskin journal. This way I have a record of everything. But the nice thing about clayboard, like I'm showing in this video, is that the erasing is so much easier, which you'll see later on. On hot press paper, you could still erase, it's just a little bit more difficult. I mapped in the placement of both of those ears, and now from here I'm going to start drawing in this eye. I'm just going to follow that dot that I drew in earlier. I start in the center where the iris is, just drawing in a circle, and then I follow the curve of that upper eyelid and just round it over to the left side. And then as I'm looking at my reference, I'm just trying to spot where I see some of the darker values and the transitions of values. I noticed a darker one on top of the eye, so I drew that in, following the curve of that upper eyelid, just slightly above it, and then a few creases just below the eye. Again, I simplify it. These look like circles to me, so I just sketch in two semicircle shapes below it. To get in the placement of the body of the pig, I'm going to start on the other end where the tail is, just kind of map in the placement and then connect it as I move over to the head. I like to sketch in little reference points where one curve transitions to another part of the curve, and that's what I did for the back of the pig. And then I'll do the same thing for the legs. I start by placing in the start and the end point for each leg at a time, and then start connecting the lines. And these, of course, aren't straight lines. There's a lot of subtle curves here, so I'm paying attention to my reference and trying to get them in accurately. With a freehand drawing like this, it's very difficult to get everything absolutely perfectly, like you would with a tracing. And for a sketch, and for me, that's perfectly fine. If I wanted to be 100% accurate, I'd be using a grid. And if you want to get better and more accurate at freehand drawing like this, I recommend starting with a grid and of course practicing. And I also recommend adding in some life drawing. You'll naturally build up those skills quicker than you realize, but it takes time and practice. There's no substitution for that. Once I get everything in place, I'm going to finish this up by sketching in the placement of that cast shadow just underneath the pig so I know where to paint it in later. This is going to kind of set him into the scene. And so that's going to be it for the initial drawing. We get everything in place now, so I'm going to mount this to the wall and we're going to start the painting. For my initial drawings like this, I always like to use a graphite pencil. I was using an HB for this one, and the reason for that is just because it makes it so much more forgiving. It's very easy to erase the graphite lines, redraw them in, but if you want to do this initial part using the airbrush, that's perfectly fine too. Now for the painting part, switching over to my airbrush, and I'm using the color black by Schmincke Aero Colors. It's reduced about 1:1 with distilled water, and I'm spraying here right at around 25 psi. Like always, I'm going to start with the eye, the darkest value I'm seeing here right in the center, the pupil and the iris. I'm painting in a smaller circle for the center of the eye and then just kind of expanding it out, and then also painting in that upper eyelid which curves over to the left and just following my pencil lines that I drew in earlier. Once I get these in place, I'm going to add a bit more paint on top. This is going to darken up the values and extend the edges. And for that very small specular highlight in the center, it's just to the left of the pupil, I'm going to use an eraser, just dot it in, drawing a small dot there. I also used that eraser to clean up some edges where I extended some paint out a bit too far. Now, if you look at my completed painting, pay attention to some of these darker values surrounding the eye. Like for this shadow value above the eye, it's thinner along the right side, so I painted in with the airbrush close to the surface. As I move along to the left, I start widening it. And to spray in a wider line, I just move the airbrush a little bit farther back from the surface so I get a wider part of that spray pattern. And then for a tighter, thinner line, the airbrush is closer to the surface. So after I get that eye in place and a few of the darker values surrounding it, I'm applying a very light glaze of paint along the bottom part of it. And we'll come back to this eye later, but for now I'm going to move up to the ear. And what I'm looking for is the darkest value that I'm seeing within here. That's within the center. So the first thing that I'm doing is spraying a slightly wider and softer line along the outer contour of that dark value. And then I'll start adding some value within the center of it with these darker lines that radiate from the bottom up toward the top of the ear with a slight curve in them. You may notice that as I'm doing this, the value is starting to look a little bit darker toward the bottom part of the ear, and that's just because I'm spraying more paint in there. For a monochromatic painting like this, where I'm only using the color black, the way that I control values is by how much paint is applied to the surface itself. When I want a darker value, I spray more paint. The more paint on the surface, the darker it's going to look. And I'm not using any sort of white paint or white colored pencils for any of this. All the lighter values are going to come from areas that don't have paint, meaning areas that I just don't spray into or areas that I erase into. The white that you're seeing in the completed painting is just exposed parts of that clay board underneath. Painting a few lines on the forehead to indicate where some hair is going to be later on, and then I'm going to apply a light glaze of paint over the top. And when I say glaze, I'm talking about a thin layer of transparent paint sprayed over the top. So in this case, it's just the forehead and the top part of the eye. I'm going to use my eraser to work in a few highlights within the eye. I just squint my eyes when I'm looking at the reference, and I try to pay attention to where I see some light, and I just draw them in with that eraser. One thing that I'm going to do for a lot of this painting is outline sections of it, and when you outline something, it tends to flatten the image. For a sketch like this is something that I want to do because outlines and the style of shading that I'm using for this one, which is called hatching, I'll cover that later, is going to give the final painting a look much more similar to graphite or a charcoal sketch rather than a finished painting. You'll see here that I worked my way around the ear using the airbrush pretty close to the surface to give myself a sharper line. And I didn't just paint in a continuous line to outline the ear. I basically painted in a bunch of thin lines or dashes that connect. It's pretty easy to do this way, and it also helps add to that sketched or drawing look. Just inside that outline is some area of light, so you'll see here that I'm switching over to a different soft eraser and removing some paint there, lightening up those areas. For this left ear, I'm going to start first with an outline within the center, within that darker value. And then once I get that outer line painted in, I'm going to start shading in the center. I'm going to use a technique called hatching here. It's just a bunch of thin lines parallel to one another. I'm doing it a little bit messy here to add to the randomness. You can see that these lines are not perfectly parallel, and I'm allowing some of them to overlap. This type of shading is going to really help add to that charcoal or drawing look. And then once I get those in, I'm going to start adding a little bit more paint along the right side. This is going to darken it. And this type of shading is going to help to give a little bit of depth to this sketch. The darker areas are going to look like areas that are in shadow, rounded away from the light source, and the brighter areas of the highlights are going to look like they're angled toward the light source. For the forehead and the ear, I'm going to paint in an outline, but you'll see that as I'm doing this, I'm painting in little dashes. I'm just lightly pulling back on the trigger and then just kind of jiggling the airbrush as I paint in these lines. This is going to help break up the uniformity of these lines and add a very subtle amount of texture to each part of it. If I want a few parts of these lines to be a bit darker, like on the top part of the ear, I pull a little bit farther back on that airbrush trigger, but I'm spraying air the entire time. That's very important. Anytime I want to stop, I first always move that trigger fully forward to stop the paint flow, then I lift my trigger finger up to stop the air. After I have that left ear painted in, I want to pull out some highlights. So I'm going to use some subtractive drawing using different erasers here to draw in a few lines. Again, this is hatching, just pulling out a few parallel lines. Then I'll add a bit more paint into the forehead and use that eraser just like I showed on the ear to pull out some areas of light. This way it doesn't look too flat and too smooth within this section. I added some more paint to the right side of the eye to help darken it. Now I'm going to paint in this softer line along the left side of the snout as we move down to the nose. And this line isn't as dark as the other ones because I'm not pulling that far back on the trigger, just a little bit so I spray less paint. For the nose itself, I'm going to start in the center by painting in both nostrils. The value in both of these nostrils is very dark. It's essentially pure black, but I want to slowly apply this paint to build up layers of it. The way that I sprayed in the nostrils was holding the airbrush just a little bit farther back from the surface so that the line isn't too sharp. It's a bit of a softer spray pattern. I started on one side, filled it in, and then just continued my way around. There's a subtle shadow along the top, so I'm spraying that in the same way, just a light amount of paint, not pulling too far back on the trigger. You can see that value is a little bit lighter than the nostrils just because I didn't spray as much paint in there. And then I'll work my way around the nose, adding in a light value for this outline. Light value at first, we can darken it up later. I just want to get everything in place right now. As I mentioned earlier, these darker outlines that I'm painting in are going to help to flatten the image to make it look a lot more like a drawing or like a cartoon rather than a photorealistic painting. Now, if I compare the style of this sketch to one of my actual paintings, like this rose that I finished a few weeks ago, even though I'm using the same techniques, you can see that I get a very different final painting. Within this rose, the shading is very subtle and there's smooth transitions of value blending from one color to the next. There's no real harsh shading or hatching lines like we're doing in the pig sketch, and most importantly, there's no outlines surrounding anything. The edges here are really just transitions from one color to the next or one value to the next, like you'll see here on the top of the rose to that background behind it. And this is just one of the reasons why this rose looks a lot more realistic or natural compared to the sketch. And the really beautiful thing about art or painting or drawing is that you get to decide what style or genre you want to work in. No one ever gets to decide that for you. So going back to this pig sketch, even though the style is very different from what I normally show on this channel, it's still a representational painting. The fundamentals like proportion, value, and placement of value are equally important. The execution is just the difference. And so after I painted in the mouth, the jaw, and some of the values on the lower part of the face, what I'm going to do from here is switch over to some paint directly from the bottle and start darkening up these values. When the paint is thicker like this without any sort of reduction, it's going to go on a lot darker, but the most important thing, whether it's reduced or not, is trigger control, how far back I'm pulling on that trigger. So what I'm doing here with these darker lines is also pulling a little bit farther back on the trigger to spray more paint. More pigment on the panel gives you a darker value. I'll continue to use that hatching technique of a few parallel lines next to one another to darken up some of the values. And once I get a few of these darker values in, you're going to see me switch over to the eraser in a few parts here to help lighten up some areas. I'm also using a hatching technique with that eraser. A few areas around the eye also got a little bit too dark from overspray, so you can see that I can come in with this eraser with a very sharp point and just lightly pull out some paint there. I just want to point out that if you're doing this on hot press paper, you could still erase the paint. It just takes a little bit more effort because that paper is absorbent and holds some of the pigment in. But if you want the paint to easily erase off the paper like this clayboard surface that I'm using, all you need to do is add a layer or two of gesso on it. Just a light amount, let it dry, at least 24 hours or so, and the surface will be good to go. Moving along to this leg on the left side of the painting, the first thing that I'm doing here is painting in an outline. Once I get that in, I'll paint in some hatching lines along the right side, adding some more paint along the very right. This way that area gets darker, looks like it's rounding away into shadow. A few darker values along the bottom, so I'm going to paint in an outline again, add some weight there, give off a cartoon look for this painting. And I'm also going to start blocking in the left side of this cast shadow below the pig. And for this cast shadow at the bottom, I'm not just going to paint in an even value of paint like I would do for a more realistic painting. I'm going to do this a little bit more messy, some sketchiness, some random lines in here. Moving along to this next leg, the first thing that I'm seeing here is this darker shadow off to the right. I painted in the edges first, and then I'm also going to use that hatching technique to add some lines in here to darken up this value, also lightly glaze some paint over the top. And then I'll continue using that hatching technique along the top part of the leg to add a bit of a shadow there along the right side. Once those hatching lines are in, if it's still too light, I can always glaze on a little bit of paint over the top like I just did here over those lines. As I work my way down the leg, I'm going to follow the outline just like I did with the leg to the left, and you can see that I'm just following my pencil lines here. Those are always guiding me. I added in a few of the shadow values within the leg, and then I'm also blocking in the placement of this cast shadow underneath. I also want to point out for this part of the painting, these first few layers, I'm switching over to that reduced black, so 1-to-1 with distilled water. And then once I get a few of these in place, now it's time to start darkening up the values. So again, I'm switching back over to the color black directly from the bottle and starting to add more paint over the darker areas. I used my eraser to draw in a few hatching lines along the left side of that front leg to help brighten it up. I'll add in the first part of that darker outline along the top part of the pig, and then I'll use this black paint to help darken up the values within this cast shadow at the bottom, some sketching lines, and some hatching. Before I start adding in some of those major hatching lines within the body of the pig, I want to just block in the placement of the darker values. So you can see I'm using my airbrush a little bit farther back from the surface just to spray in some of the darker values to make it look like some areas are rolling away from the light source within the body. And now for the rest of the painting, I'm going to be following those exact same techniques that I showed all the way through, just working smaller sections one step at a time. There's nothing difficult about this one. The only tricky part is the drawing in the beginning, but if you're just starting out, like I mentioned earlier, I recommend using a grid, or if you want, you could just trace it. That's perfectly fine if you're starting out. But the more you practice using a grid and working from life, I promise you, you're going to get better and better at freehand drawing. Once I get those legs in place, you can see I added a fair amount of hatching lines across the body of the pig, and as I was doing this, I was looking at the reference, squinting my eyes. When you do that, it's really easy to spot large values of light and dark, so anywhere that I spotted some of those values, I drew in some lines to indicate it within the painting. And to really add to the effect of making this look like a charcoal drawing, I'm going to use a fair amount of erasing here at the end to help pull out some highlights and some textures using the same techniques that I talked about earlier. Again, just a reminder, it's a monochromatic painting, so I'm not using any sort of white or colored pencils to help draw these in. All those bright areas are just areas that are erased out. And that's pretty much it for this one. Those are all the techniques that I use to create a sketch like this. It doesn't take me long, maybe 25 minutes, half hour at the most. I'll be honest, for this one, the only thing that was actually time consuming was me setting up the cameras and the lighting. When I'm doing these for myself, it goes a lot quicker. This last little bit is just me refining everything. This is always one of the most fun parts of drawing or painting for me. I come around with the eraser, help lighten up some areas, maybe add some texture in some areas that are a bit too smooth. And of course, I use my airbrush to spray in some more paint into the shadow areas, help darken them, add some more contrast to the final painting. So there you go, that's where I'm going to wrap this one up. That's a 30-minute sketch, really fun way to start the day or to warm up before you start painting some more difficult stuff. Thank you so much for being here and for all of your support over the years, and I'd like to wish all of you and your families a very happy and healthy new year for 2026. And before I go, I just want to say how grateful I am for the channel members for their continued support. I'd like to give a shout out and a warm welcome to the newest channel members this week. That's Sylvie, Hector, Yves, Jean-Charles, Antonio, and Noel at a very generous tier 3. Thank you guys all so much and welcome. And a welcome back to Yao Shipyards, Krister, Anders, Israel, Reagan, Mir Creative, and Bianca. Be well everyone, Happy New Year to you, and I'll see you back here next Friday.